The purpose of this press conference is to globally release this publication. It's a report on REDD, and it was been published by the Indigenous Environmental Network, and I am the director of this network. We are an indigenous organization based in United States, and we have networks and affiliates and indigenous brothers and sisters we work with throughout the world. This publication is extremely important for our people, as well as being one of the major discussions at this meeting here in Bangkok. Global warming has ushered in a new era of land grabs as industrialized countries scour the world for biofuels and forests to absorb their emissions. So this booklet, this report, is an early warning about these schemes, something that we should be very concerned about. Our indigenous organization rejects the inclusion of forests in the carbon market, also known as reduced emissions from deforestation and degradation, and REDD+. REDD could result in the biggest land grab of all time. There are dire consequences for the world, and not only for our indigenous peoples, but for all people in all life, if world leaders don't take real action in the post-2012 climate treaty being debated here. As indigenous communities within the developing countries are becoming more informed of REDD, they are becoming more alarmed of the lack of safeguards that will guarantee their inherent rights to their lands and the very trees that are being traded in these carbon offset regimes. REDD-type projects have already violated indigenous people's rights with continued reports of evictions, fraud, coercion, conflict and corruption in countries like Papua New Guinea and Indonesia. Carbon cowboys are running rampant in indigenous lands, causing multi-million-dollar scams that trick indigenous peoples into signing their land rights away. I am concerned that these carbon scams would let the carbon and the carbon market criminals off the hook. Northern polluters will use REDD to buy their way out of reducing their emissions using forests in the global south. REDD is not just another false solution to climate change. It constitutes carbon CO2 colonialism of our forests. It is climate capitalism. Indigenous leaders are not the only ones warning of the adverse consequences of REDD. While there are other analysts that also are concerned about this implementation of REDD as the cornerstone of the Copenhagen deal. Even the UN itself foresees that REDD could result in the lockup of forests, marginalize the landless, and those with communal use rights according to the UN REDD framework document. So at this time we have put a panel of speakers of indigenous and non-indigenous peoples to talk about this. I'd like to introduce Anna Pinto from Northeast India.
From our experience in India, we are aware that there is a very heavy pressure on land. We are concerned because low carbon sustainable livelihoods for extremely large populations in India, and particularly for women who feed the poorest of these very large populations. Their resource base is going to be alienated, and indeed it is in process of being alienated in every single country in Asia in preparation to implement offsetting projects, either by national industry or by international industry. We have a serious crisis already for food and for water. In the last 2 days, Asian women, indigenous and from local communities, farmers, fishers, have gathered to discuss the implications of emissions trading schemes that will appropriate all women's resources. Now, FAO and IFAD and the World Development Report and all these very prestigious organizations have acknowledged that women are the primary producers of food and the suppliers of water for the majority of the world's poor. When these resources are privatized under REDD, under clean energy projects, under emissions trading projects, what will our women feed our people on? We are going to have famines on a scale that has never been thought of or imagined before. We are going to have water shortages even when there is a lot of water. In some of our sister communities in Bangladesh, women are already living for 9 months of the year, chest high in water, for 9 months of the year. This is genocide, and it is happening on a global scale, and it is corporate driven. We have to put a stop to this. We have to, unless we want to see civil chaos at a level that we cannot imagine happening in what is today called the civilized era of the world. I don't have a lot more to say. I will hand over to the next speaker, and I'd be happy to answer any specific questions about the Northeast region, which is very closely linked to Bangladesh in terms of the water flows. I would really ask the press to take these issues seriously. We may be poor, but we are many, and we are the people who have kept the environment as clean as it is. We deserve some acknowledgement of the positions that we are promoting. Thank you.